Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation said to open a criminal case against the Jagersfontein Development Project mine. This follows the damages caused by the disaster in September. The wall of Jagersfontein Development's tailings facility collapsed, causing at least one death and injuring scores of other people, as well as forcing the displacement of the local residents. Human rights lawyer Richard Spoor is also representing some of the local community members on this matter. He's joining us now live from White River in Mpumalanga province this afternoon, just to give us an update. Mr. Spoor, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for your patience and your time as we were concluding our live coverage to the National Assembly's President's question and answer session a short while ago. What's the latest you can tell us about the fight to really compensate the people of Jagersfontein?
Well, the news from the Deputy Minister that charges have been laid against the mine, and I believe there are two charges. The first is failing to close the mine in 2020 as their license required. And the second is overloading the mine by dumping in excess of 2 million tons of waste every year when their license conditions only allowed for 700,000 tons per year. So they were massively exceeding their license requirements, and this forms the basis of the charges. In relation to the question of compensation, we have 200 households who have lost everything. 160 of those households' homes have been irreparably harmed and damaged. But for all 200, they have lost all their possessions, all their property, and to the extent that they were making a livelihood from their properties, they've lost everything. We also have well over 1,000 hectares of valuable grazing land downstream that's been destroyed. And we also have tens of kilometers of the river ecology that has been irreparably harmed. All life has been annihilated. So the question is, who is responsible and who's going to take responsibility and do something about this? We have engaged with Jagersfontein Developments and asked them if they intend to take responsibility. I want to emphasize not just legal liability, that's not the question, but social responsibility for the harm. Are they prepared to make redress to the innocent victims of this disaster? And unfortunately, the answer has been no. They have refused to give any indication whatsoever that they will make redress. There's another question, however, is can the mine afford to make redress? It's a relatively small mine, a small company, it's isolated, production has been closed. So how is the mine going to make redress to the community and clean up the environment? We estimate the harm to the environment and the cleanup that has to take place at well in excess of R1 billion, and the harm to the community members, the 3 people who've died, I want to emphasize 3 have died, and to people living in Charlesville at approximately 500 million rand. So that's about 1.5 billion to 2 billion rands damages. We doubt very much that Jagersfontein is in a position to meet these claims.
So the news that from the Deputy Minister today, sorry to come in there, Mr. Spoor, that they're going to lay these criminal charges, must come as a welcome kind of sorts for you representing those 200 households.
Well, it's a good thing in the sense that it shows some action, but what is disappointing is that there's been very little transparency on the side of the Department of Water and Sanitation about what they're doing to ensure redress. So we saw a presentation to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Water Affairs yesterday. And what we learn is that they have taken measures to ask the mine to stop the spilling of any further tailings, but there's nothing there whatsoever about cleaning up the environment that's been contaminated, and there's nothing at all about what they're going to do to compensate the people who have suffered harm and loss. So we're not sure. We heard today that the National Department of Environmental Affairs is not at all involved, has issued no directives, and has done nothing about this matter. Apparently there's a contestation. The Department of Mineral Resources between Department of Mineral Resources and Environmental Affairs about who's responsible. And it seems as if the Department of Mineral Resources, Mr. Mantashe's department, is now getting involved. But that means that Environmental Affairs have stepped back. And from the company's side as well, no information about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. From their shareholders too, Stargems Rough, the Dubai-based company, has released no information except to say, well, it believed the dam was safe. From Johan Rupert and Renita Investments, who ran this company for 10 years, no information, no statements, no admission of responsibility, no indication that they're willing to do anything. Now, these are the parties who really need to come to the party. If they take their corporate social responsibility seriously, these are the parties that need to come down, sit around a table with the community and their representatives and engage about fixing this terrible, terrible mess that they have created. But so far, nothing from them, nothing from the company, and nothing from government as to how we're going to fix this mess.
Thank you very much for your time this hour here on Today on ENCA. Human rights lawyer Richard Spoor speaking on behalf of the community of Jagersfontein.